reckless idea began to take shape in my head. Ignore me now.
Did you see that fat kid's website? He's gonna embarrass himself to death by not showing up.
On New Year's Eve, I'm gonna eat my final meal live on the internet.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Hello YouTube! Welcome to the Marshall Butter Iceberg based off the book Butter by Erin Lange. I apologize in pre-advance for my awful microphone. Let us dive into the sea, starting from the sky. Far above the iceberg, I'll categorize all three of these different sections together. Butter can be most easily characterized by the fact that he is very morbidly obese, and he knows that about himself through and through. This is described in Lange's quote, "I wondered if she could hear the tick-tock, the countdown of my inevitable death of a heart attack or worse," on page 23. This quote describes how his obesity is the first thing that other people notice about him. He is most definitely not popular compared to some of his classmates, but he is well off. He lives in an urbanized Arizona location next to gorgeous houses and foothills. He's an amazing saxophonist who has the attention of many professors and scouts for this fact. These are the most basic facts about dear old Butter that anyone could look up far above the iceberg. Now it is time to make our way to the most famous part of this tier list, the tip of the iceberg. Up here at the tip of the iceberg, we can see that there's two topics, social standards and Sweet Perfect Anna. I will go into both of these separately because they are just so different. To start us off on social standards, I can only describe them as pretty realistic. You either fit in or you don't. Think of your version of the popular crowd. They all follow trends that retain similar to one another. They have a certain set of rules that you must follow. Don't be particularly unique. In Butter's case, don't be overweight. Other things like stay in your own lane, be rich, and participate in group activities. On the other side of the iceberg, we have Sweet Perfect Anna. When I tell you Butter is in love with this girl, I mean it. From two quotes. When I first started chatting with Anna, I had delusions of shedding enough pounds to tell her who I was in just a matter of months, on page 8, and perfect, sweet, sexy Anna, on page 6, both describe Butter's view of Anna as unconditional love. Anna is a gorgeous, popular chick, one who everyone wants to get with. The only issue is she's completely out of Butter's league. There's more to discuss on Anna later, but I'll leave it at this for now. It's now time to descend under the iceberg. Now descended under the iceberg, we have two new topics, the discussion on Butter's mother's incompetence and Butter's jealousy that has no warrant. While reading this book, it becomes increasingly clear to see that Butter had both binge eating disorder and bulimia. These two disorders are only fueled by Butter's mother's lack of discipline. She constantly feeds him gluttonous portions even when his doctor says to lower sugar or calorie intake. This fuels Butter's inner fire to continue eating and purging in a consistent cycle. The final topic for this layer is Butter's anger and jealousy that had no real reason behind it. There's not many instances of this showing up, but it's apparently clear when Anna skips comp class and Butter freaks out, becoming increasingly upset at her, even though his relationship with her is parasocial. Now we descend once more, not much deeper, but still deeper, into the deeper depths of the iceberg. Now completely submerged, we enter two new concepts, one being his father's negligence and the other being an idea I like to call pseudo-friendship. His father's negligence refers to the fact that Butter's dad truly does not even bother to acknowledge his existence. After Butter reached a staggering weight, his father began to refuse to speak to him. While eating dinner, his father hardly ever looks up from his plate. One of his parents cares way too much while the other cares far too little. What is pseudo-friendship? It can be most easily defined, in this case at least, as people pretending to care about you for their own amusement or gain. This is represented in quotes, "I looked to that corner and saw the strangest thing of all. There was my bench parked at the circular table of Jeremy Strong and his minions," on pages 111 and 112, and "put me down for 50 that he doesn't go through with it at all," Jeremy spoke up, on page 114. These two quotes refer to people pretending to care about Butter because of an action he took that I will describe in the next segment. These people seem to want to get along with Butter. These people that seem to want to get along with Butter are only there to write up the attention that he is receiving. Hold your breath, because we're going even deeper into the next layer of the iceberg. Try not to get electrocuted as we go completely digital for the next layer. Both of these topics have to do with Butter's online personas, Saxman and simply Butter. Before I told you that Anna has greater importance, and this is where she comes in again. Saxman is Butter's fake persona, one where he is athletic, funny, and smart, all to catfish the girl of his dreams. Anna is completely smitten over this digital boy, and because of Butter's persona, I don't really like him as a character. He does not care about Anna's emotions at all, but he only really cares about the fact that they are parodying and that she is in love with this version of him. During lunch one day, some boys begin to argue with Anna. In a sort of heroic defense, Butter jumps up to defend her, completely making a fool of himself. When he goes home, he finds that Anna has been making fun of his real self to his online persona, and that's when he makes a grand decision. He creates the webpage butterslastmeal.com and announces his suicide, eating himself to death. Quoted on page 70, many to be announced, but I can tell you right now, it all ends with one stick of butter. He begins attracting all sorts of attention, whether it be pseudo-friendship or unwanted pity. It is finally time for the last layer of the iceberg. Let's get started. We now move on to maybe about the second most graphic and most upsetting part of this tier list, where Butter comes from, his nickname, and the urge. I'm sure you could have guessed, but Butter is not his real name. The nickname comes from the time he went out to buy a salad and ended up getting jumped, seen on page 244 when he argues with one of his attackers in the future. A lot easier when you don't have 6 or 7 friends holding me down. During this attack, Butter was held down and forced fed a whole stick of butter while he puked and sobbed. The video the video spread around, and much like wildfire, the nickname did too. It stuck. The urge is real ominous sounding, and it's something I still feel conflicted about. Butter did not really ever have friends, and even through the pseudo-friendship, he was aware that none of the people he hung out with really wanted his presence. Yet, even through this knowledge, he began gaining the urge to live. He loved the attention. Pathetic. I can't explain what came over me, but I had this overwhelming urge to see it through. Maybe I wanted to drag out the attention for a few more days, stated on page 107, shows that he just ate the attention up even though he knew it was momentarily. He valued each moment with these fake friends and slowly gained the urge to live, an urge he had to shut down. From the summary of this book, you probably know what this is going to be about. What happened on December 31st on his live stream. I'm going to freestyle this because I am tired of writing scripts. On December 31st, Butter decided to take his life on live stream. It's followed by 3 quotes. Then I signed onto my website, set up the live feed, turned on the camera, and sat down to eat on page 256. I was just reaching for the stick of butter when my whole world went black on Lange 257, and I woke up in heaven. I mean, it had to be heaven, right? On page 258. I'd say these are the 3 most important quotes from the segment that describes him pumping insulin into his arm, eating food he's allergic to, and choking on his food. Butter does not end up dying. He wakes up in the hospital, surrounded by his family, surrounded by Anna. Not surrounded by her, there's only one of her, but, you know. Typically, on December 31st, people decide to make big changes in their life. Whether it be going to the gym or drinking more water, people decide to make big changes in their life, specifically on this day as a New Year's resolution. I believe that the author Lange was making a sort of metaphor to how Butter was making a very large, irreversible change in his life, deciding to take his life. After Butter wakes up in the hospital, he talks to Anna because she's waiting there. They try to start anew. They talk about how sorry they are for their past mistakes. Butter apologizes for being a catfish. Anna apologizes for yelling at him and humiliating him. This is when we learn Butter's true name on the very last page, where we learn that his true name is Marshall. I kind of did spoil that for everyone a while back because it was in the intro of my video, but that's where it really comes into play. If you decided to watch this far into it, I want to say thank you. This was really unusually long for something I made. I kind of went AWOL at the end and stopped using scripts because I was tired of writing. But I'm sorry for my lack of effort at the